Thank you, Prabjot, for joining me in this podcast. We call it Brain in You.
Thank you
And
for inviting me.
yeah, and I'm very excited to talk to you today, more as somebody who has been a parent and then walked on this journey to understand a lot more about autism. And the parents who will be watching this are mostly parents of those who've just been diagnosed. So they have tons and tons of questions in their mind, a lot of myths, a lot of misconceptions, a lot of guilt. So they're walking on this journey and you are way ahead. And I think they will seek a lot of guidance from you. So that's from where I'm coming today. So I'll just
Thank
start by
you.
asking you, walk me down your journey. What were those early symptoms? What were those early signs that made you seek the initial medical attention?
Uh, as a first-time parent, Nima was my firstborn. I don't know. We kind of knew that he was autistic.
Okay.
Maybe it was my mother instinct, our parent instinct,
Okay.
that there is something different in our child.
Okay.
It's not the same. Even though we anticipated that he is different, everyone said around us, no, 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 you're just overthinking. He would overgrow it. He's not autistic. He does not look autistic at all. But we kind of knew because he wasn't playing with others. He wasn't using the toys as they should be. He was playing in the kitchen rather than the toys. He was more interested in, say, a cosmetic bag than a car. He was lining up the toys. So these were little things that we started noticing, and we felt that maybe we never had an experience with the child or any kids, but something is definitely odd. And if you honestly ask me, it never bothered me, even if he was different. It honestly, it never. Uh, and I am so, I would say, I'm so fortunate, and rather I would say that we are so lucky that we raised our child the way he should have been. So even after his diagnosis, we never changed our parenting way. It was still the same. And I'm glad that we actually were parenting him the way he should have been from the very get go. Um,
Okay.
so, yeah, maybe
How?
because it was a first child.
Okay.
So,
How was
if it had,
how? Okay. Prabjot, normally the stories I hear when I speak to parents, especially when it's the first child,
yes.
and a lot of expectations on them, from the child, not just them, their grandparents, extended family. How did you manage that?
This is where we got lucky because we had nobody around us.
Okay.
So we had no interference, nothing.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah. So this was actually the good thing for us because it was just me and my husband raising our kids, both of our
Okay.
kids. So we had no grandparents, no family, nothing around, no one around us. So it was
Okay.
just friends who would just come and go once in a week visit us, and they would
Yeah.
say, "Oh, nothing is wrong, nothing is wrong. Um, he just looks okay. You're overthinking
Yeah.
because you're a new parent." But yes, these things never came into our mind. So even if we told our parents, their grandparents, that we think he's autistic, he's different, they will say, "Oh, that's okay. It happens." Like they say in India, "ठीक हो जाएगा, age के साथ ठीक हो जाएगा, अपने आप ठीक हो जाएगा." So that's what we used to hear from others.
Mm.
But we never had that in mind that he's autistic. Oh, our life would be so difficult, although it is difficult. If I tell you the story, like how we get up in the morning, how it
Yeah.
ends
Yeah.
until at bedtime. But seriously, it was just part of us. We never felt, even after the diagnosis, we never felt that it was different because that's the life we were used to. So
Okay.
that,
At
that
what
was part of.
age did you get the diagnosis done?
Uh, because it was COVID here, so the diagnosis got really delayed. We couldn't get the appointment, so he was
Yeah.
diagnosed around 3.5 years of age.
Okay. Okay.
Until
And this
that time,
is
we already
okay.
knew. Yeah.
Okay. This is very surprising in a positive way for me, by the way. So,
Yeah, I had to actually, when I got to know that this is what they are going to ask me, and I forgot to actually tell that there was never a denial phase, never ever a denial phase in our case, because when Nimmer was around 1.5 years of age, we noticed that he could read because he used to watch TV with the subtitles on. Those, if you heard about Cocomelon, so he used to read the words, and we somehow felt that he can recognize words. So what we did was around 1.5 years of age, we started making cue cards for him, like little cue cards with one word, and we would ask him to pick the word. And even though he wasn't able to communicate or he was non-verbal at that time, he could actually pick the right word, like one, or any one. So then we started introducing two words and then sentences, and he could actually read properly. He started reading the books around 2.5 years of age. He had, otherwise he had no communication. That's
Okay.
where when we felt, as an Indian parent, initially we thought, oh, our child is very intelligent, oh, he's academically very good, he can read this, he can do maths. But then after a certain time we realized that it's not normal. It is not a normal child, a 2-year child
Yeah.
would do. That's when we thought, then I started reading about autism. I knew autism, but when you don't walk in those shoes, you never realize what exactly it is.
Yeah.
Then we
Tell,
started reading about
okay.
autism.
Tell me, when you say you knew what autism was, what was it
Autism,
for you?
that's it. The
Okay.
word autism,
Okay.
nothing more than that, nothing less than that, nothing.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah, I
And
knew
and the
autism, but yeah,
and the
sorry, go
first
on.
time you went or you Googled or you, what was the takeaway? What was that first feeling that came to your mind that, okay, so this is what I'm supposed to do? What was there any kind of fear? What was that initial feeling? Fine, autism. I go, you go read. What was that?
There was no fear, honestly,
Okay.
but we knew that we had to protect our child.
Yeah.
We knew. And one thing which we did was talk openly about it. We were very, very vocal about autism for
Okay.
a child. We advocated for our child, and in throughout the journey, initially, now I don't get to hear that, but initially we were told, oh, you talk too much about autism about your child. Maybe he's not. You're labeling him. That's what we got to hear.
Mm.
This was the reaction of the people around us. Uh, you should not be labeling him. You should not talk about your son that he's autistic. That's too much. But then I think because we were too vocal about it, every conversation, everywhere we would go, and that's how I got help. That's how I got confident about autism, because we were talking loud and open about it.
Okay.
And that's when I started this journey, because we realized that people don't accept it.
Yeah.
That's the biggest setback in our community, especially Indian community.
Yeah.
People don't like to talk about it because it's
Yeah.
kind of a guilt or embarrassment for their family.
Yeah.
That what if like people around them know, oh, there's something wrong with your child,
Yeah.
even though it's just that they think differently. It's their way of thinking. If I think straight, maybe my son is thinking from the right to the left. That's the way he thinks, but
Yeah.
there's no embarrassment in it.
Okay. So, Prabjot, when you say there was no denial, was there a time when you said, okay, fine, I'm not happy with what it is, but I'm going to fix it, like really soon, I'm going to fix it. Was there a phase of that as well?
Definitely there were hard times. Initially they were hard times because we as parents, we had no clue about autism,
Yeah.
how to deal with it. That was
Yeah.
actually the biggest, I would say, the sad part of it, because we could not set a right foot in the beginning, that how we should actually help our child. And um, we did not really help him the way we should have.
Okay.
We, of course, we were very agitated in the beginning because
Mm.
he could not understand us. We could
Mm.
not understand him. We used to be in the bad mood, and there were frustration in the house amongst me and my husband, amongst the kids as well, because there was no understanding of how we should be helping him
Yeah.
until we went on a right track and we got to know that this is the right way and how badly we were treating him. It's not that
Oh,
we were beating him or anything. It's just
yeah,
that
I
we were
know.
not able to understand him.
Yeah.
And that's where you get the guilt as a parent that
Yeah.
I should have had this
Yeah.
parenting right
Yeah.
from the
Yeah.
beginning. Yeah.
I get it. Yeah.
These were our,
Yeah.
I would say, uh, I still remember that time. It's hard to talk about that, even though we always put a smile on our face now that it
Yeah,
is easy because it's part of our life.
I
But
know.
now when I remember those times when we were
Yeah.
not able to do the right things in a right way, that was really hard. And I think how badly he would have been thinking about us, or how what
Mm,
situation he could have been in when we
mm,
were not able to understand him. We were the safe zone for him, and we were not able to
mm.
understand him.
Yeah.
That
That's
was my
exactly the
biggest
point.
guilt.
Yeah, yeah.
Yes, yes,
Yeah, I think that's what hits us hard as parents,
yes.
that weren't we the safe haven for them? Yeah. Prabjot, tell me with an example. You stressed on this fact several times that you should not have dealt with him the way you dealt. And it wasn't about you beating him up, but there was a different way of dealing with it. What was that? Because
I
I'm
used to.
sure
Yep.
many at this stage are going through that, and maybe years later they will be saying the same thing. So let's just probably keep them in mind and let's help them out.
Getting frustrated at little things. That was the first thing I used to get. I used
Mm-hmm.
to have no patience at all,
Mm-hmm.
understanding him, and keep repeating things. Nima, do this. Nima, do this. Nima, do this. Nima, listen to. We used to do this, but then we got to know. Sorry, it's just it
Yeah,
is emotional, especially
yeah,
talking about
yeah,
this. Yep.
yeah.
So telling him again and again, and both of us talking at the same time, Nima, do this. Nima, you're not listening to us. Nima, I'm your mommy. Without realizing, maybe we just need to calm down.
Yeah,
We need to have the patience. Maybe he does not understand the way we look at the things.
yeah.
How about we slow down? Then we realized that we not realized his therapist actually told us that maybe just one of you should actually talk to him at one time. So even
Mm,
if you're giving instruction, it should be only one person at a time. And that's what I always tell the parents when they get to me, that only one parent or one person should talk to the child at one time to make him understand. Go on your knees, go on his eye level,
mm,
and maybe just give him that comfort space
mm,
and have his confidence, and then talk to your child.
mm.
And that's what we did.
Yeah.
That's changed the whole scenario.
How long did that period last of figuring out, or maybe figuring out, trying to fix him and getting agitated? And how long was that period for you?
About 2 years.
Mm,
About 2 years. I remember we moved into this house 3 years ago. Initial 1.5 years was really, really tough. Maybe because we had the newborn baby with us. We moved into the house, so many things were happening,
yeah,
and
yeah.
then Nimmer not being able to understand us, and we got so frustrated. I remember that I used to really, really get agitated. I really used to scream at him that, "Oh,
Yeah,
you're not listening to us." Because at that time, until that time, we did not have any therapist for him. We did not get any therapists because of the COVID. There was no help.
yeah,
It's different here from India.
yeah,
There's a long wait
yeah.
list for everything. But then when the therapist got started, it was actually hard. I tell you, we got him into ABA therapy, behavior. If you know
Yeah,
ABA.
yeah, yeah.
Uh, when she moved in for the first time into a house, Nimar was crying so badly. That was the hardest day of my life. I still remember she walked in, we were in the living room, and she said, "Move away." And he started crying so badly because
Mm,
until that time, he was not comfortable with the strangers at all. He would not talk to anyone. He was a different child. Uh, because we were very naive. We had no clue how to deal with an autistic child. As a parent, we were thinking that, oh, we were doing our best. We were parenting our child in the best way. But until that day, it really opened our eyes, actually. Uh, they were sitting on a table. She said, "Now you just sit away and let me do my work." So, as a child, as a 3-year-old child, he started grabbing her activity books and all the toys she brought in with her.
mm,
And she was like, "You can't touch it, Nimmer, until you ask." And you can imagine, as a parent, I was about to jump off my chair, like, "Why are you doing this to my child?" She said, "No, you stay there and watch. He literally, for that 1 hour, he cried. He cried for things. But the best thing happened was by the end of that session, he was actually waiting patiently for his turn. He was requesting things, even though he was nonverbal, he was requesting things. And when she was about to leave, she said to me, do not give in to your child all the time. Start saying no to your child. And that was the day we started using no for Nimar, and it actually has worked. Because
Okay.
until that time, we were just giving in. He was the one
Okay.
who was controlling us until that time.
Yeah.
Nimar would say, I want this. We would just give in. Oh, we don't want meltdowns. We don't want tantrums. We don't want
I
screaming
know.
in the house. Just take everything, Nimar, what you want. But
Yeah.
as a parent, we were thinking we were doing the right way. But
Yeah.
we were told this is absolutely wrong. And you imagine as a parent, you're raising your child in a way until 3.5 years of age, and suddenly you're told, no, this is not the right way. You're
Okay.
doing it wrong.
Okay.
And then the whole scenario changed. And that actually changed Nimar as well. And we started seeing the improvements. We started seeing that he was getting better and better every day in his speech,
Okay.
in his behavior. That was that was a turning point for us.
Okay. I'll come to ABA later because I've heard lots of mixed reviews about it, especially from parents in the West. But tell me one thing, Prabjot, you mentioned frustration and agitation several times, especially in the beginning. And I'm
Yes.
happy that it lasted 2 years for you. Normally, I've seen people going through that for at least 5, 6 years. But in that phase, what really also gets impacted is their relationship with their husband or husband's relationship with the wife. So it's a spouse. What happened? How did you manage that?
We had difficult time, definitely.
Mm.
We did have very bad time because obviously we were not getting enough time with each other because of the kids as well. And then getting frustrated, as I mentioned before, not being able to understand your child, not being able to help him. And if you ask me honestly, we never were comparing our child. But
Mhm.
at the end of your mind, you still think, oh, my child is not able to do this. My child is
Mhm.
not able to play with others. You still think somewhere. Uh, so with my husband, we did have bad phase as well,
Mm.
because obviously that
Yeah.
frustration of your
Yeah.
child gets onto your relation as well.
Yeah.
So, but I think we found a way that we needed to just get away from each other, give each other space as well, so that
Yeah.
we can actually focus on our child. So
Yeah.
we talked about it. We talked that we need to help our child first, then we need to focus and just getting frustrated because it wasn't helping anyone.
Yeah.
Frustrating, yeah, getting frustrations on your kids, getting frustrations on
Yeah.
each other as well. It wasn't
Yeah.
helping
Yeah.
until we realized that how we need to fix things. And
Yeah.
and it has. And I won't say that we don't have breakdowns. We do have breakdowns every now and then. We are human. It's not that
Yeah.
we can be happy all the time. I
Yeah.
do. I mean, normally I try to stay very strong, but
Yeah.
then I do have breakdowns. And when it
I can
comes,
see
then I
that.
don't want,
Mm.
when it comes, then I don't want to talk to anyone. I just sit and then, yeah. Even like I don't want to talk to my kids at that time.
I know. Yeah.
Yeah. And I think that's fair enough.
Absolutely. I mean, I'm glad that you mentioned that because typically when a parent, when any mother would see another mother as a superhero, there's even more guilt on them. That am I
That's right.
really that bad? But it's
That's right.
actually not about that. It's a journey. I think everybody goes through it. It's pretty similar for any parent. I would say for any parent to go through a parental journey is very very similar, and we all have our shares of struggles and breakdowns and challenges in the relationship.
That's right. And it's
Prabjot,
funny, Vandita, sorry.
yeah, go on.
And it's funny when somebody actually, and I'm glad that I've, because so many people around me that they send blessings for Nimar as well. But when I get messages like, "Oh, your child is about he can read, he can write," I don't know when my child will be able to do. My child is not able to do this. I have a son who's 7 years old. I have a daughter who's 8 years old who's not able to write, and I feel like you only see the good part, what I put in the videos.
Mm,
I don't put the bad parts. If I start putting all the videos, it's the same. It's the same with
mm,
everyone. Yeah. But because I only put the positive videos because I want to send that positive note to everyone. At least I
Yeah.
want to be have that motivation, because I know that how frustrated, how demotivated all the parents of like all the autistic
Yeah.
parents are there. It is like it is so hard to get up in the morning knowing that it is going to be the hardest day of their life again.
Yeah.
It is not
Yeah.
easy. And
Yeah.
when I put up a video, I want to have that positive note for everyone, just to give a little
Yeah.
motivation. Yes, if my child is doing something, your child is also going to do. May not today, it can happen
Yeah.
any day. So just have that patience and have that faith in you that your child is going to improve. But
Yeah.
I don't say that he's going to recover. When people say that he's going to cure, that's the
Cure.
biggest myth. That's the biggest myth about autism. When people say, how did you cure your child?
Yeah.
And how can I cure my child?
Yeah.
This is the biggest lie if somebody is telling you, uh, because
Prabjot,
it's
in the
not.
beginning, did you have this thought in your mind? I wanted to touch base on this, that
Yeah.
normally when a parent sits in front of the doctor, you get the diagnosis and you are initially in denial. And then you come out of it and you say, okay, fine, I'm going to cure it. I'm going to fix it. Give me 2 months' time and he's going to go to mainstream school. Did that happen?
Um, Not exactly in this way. We did not ever think about it that we're going to cure him. But
Hmm.
always, our goal for Nimar was always to have him independent life,
Hmm.
so that he can, our base, we had very basic goals. um, he should be able to go to toilet on his own. He should be able
Hmm.
to dress himself on his own. He should be
Hmm.
able to eat on his own. These were our goals. If you honestly ask me, education was the least priority.
Okay.
We Yeah, being like, he's 6 now, he just started school. So if you ask us, sending him to school was never a priority for us.
Mm.
Our priority was him to eat his food on his own,
Mm.
to
Mm.
pull up his pants on his own. That
Mm.
was
Mm.
our goal. We had
Mm.
an option of homeschooling him as well. If
Mm.
he did not, because he did not get through the special school, his IQ was
Mm.
too high for that.
Mm.
And we always feared that he cannot go to mainstream school, because getting bullied, that was our fear, that he, what if he gets
Mm.
bullied, he will not be
Mm.
able to tell us. So
Mm.
we had an option of homeschooling as well. That what if
Mhm.
he's not going to miss out on anything, even if he doesn't go to school for 5 years. It's not
Mm.
going to change his life. But if
Mm.
he does not know how to use a toilet, he's
Very
gonna be
true.
that.
Yeah.
These were our goals. Our
Yeah.
goal was not to make him write with the pencil or hold the pencil in a
Yeah.
right way. Our goal was to make him hold the spoon very well, to
Yeah.
put the food in his mouth. That was
How
our
did this
goal.
happen? So again, I speak to tons of parents, and I think what they spend a lot of time in is to somehow get the child so-called in a normal state, which is normal school, normal play area, normal friends, normal classes,
That's right.
normal coaching, everything of that. And they spend decades, not even a few years, they spend decades. And
That's
then
right.
when I speak to parents of 18-year-olds, 17-year-olds, they have exactly the story to tell that you're saying that, oh, we don't want anything for our child. All we want is the child to be independent, that the child should be able to do everything that he or she wants by himself. I should have fair enough idea of money, how to transact, maybe take an Uber or to be able to take a cab or move around from place one to place two. How did you figure that out so early?
I don't know. Seriously, I have no clue. This is where me and my husband are on the same page. We never ever had doubts about it. That that we are scared, we are embarrassed about our child. I don't know. I get this question asked a lot, and not even for one time I had this in my mind that, oh, my life is finished. I have an autistic child. I don't know. It's, I think it's just because of Nimmer, because we saw so much potential in him.
Mm.
It's today where we are, it's all because of him. Because he is so determined to do things, even though he does everything on his own pace. One thing that we figure out, that we cannot force him to do anything.
Mm.
If we force him, it never happens. So if he's ready, we just go along with the flow. Uh, and everything happens on his own pace. And we just go
Mm.
along with that.
Mm.
If and I think that's what where we got motivated. And that's how we started this, and
Mm-hmm.
being so positive, because we saw
Mm-hmm.
that Nimar can, if you tell him to do something, he probably won't do it. But if he puts his mind into something, we know that for sure he's going to finish that task.
Mm-hmm.
And that's how we figure out that if he knows that he can do it, why not we do it? We can do it as well. As parent, we have this little task to help him, to have that little that early intervention for him. Why not? We
Mm-hmm.
should help him. So
Mm-hmm.
this is all because of Nima. I think
Amazing.
yeah, the motivation that we get is from our child.
Are you saying that maybe somewhere parents have to hear the cues the child is giving? Yeah.
That is something I always tell. When I get somebody asked me yesterday actually, how what activities we can do for our child. These are the questions I get asked. Suggest some activities. I don't know what your child is.
Yeah.
I only
Yeah.
know my child. So you need to
Yeah.
spend time
Yeah.
with your child to
Yeah.
understand him. Nima was only 2 years old when he started doing painting, and
Okay.
he paints really well. It was
Oh.
during COVID time. I'll show you. These are some of the paintings that these are his first paintings. Very beautiful, very
Yeah.
artistic paintings.
Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah.
in COVID times,
Yeah.
one thing that we always did, we did a lot of activities together. Always.
Mm-hmm.
In COVID time, because I do painting as well, so I used to put out all the brushes and paints for him, and he would create amazing masterpieces. And that's when I knew that he loves colors. Absolutely loves color. He likes to get like dirty with the colors. Otherwise, he does not like any mess on around him. But he
Mm-hmm.
loves colors.
Mm-hmm.
He loves to play with numbers. So any activity I create for him, any he has numbers in it. It would have letters in him in that activity. It would have colors in the activity, especially problem solving activities. So that's what
Mm-hmm.
we figured out for Nimar, that that's
Good.
what he likes. Those are his
Okay.
strengths. So
Okay.
that's my message for the parents out there. If you're trying to figure out what your child would like, just observe your child and look
Mm.
for his strengths, look for his likings. Do not just do anything that other kids are doing, because he may not like what other kids are doing.
Yeah. Yeah.
So you may be missing out on a very
Very
important
true.
part of your child if you're not able to figure out.
Mm-hmm. If you go back a couple of years, Prabjot, is there something that you would want to undo or redo or do it differently?
Of course, I wish I would have started this journey early,
Mm-hmm.
like 2 years ago. Like understanding him so much better now.
Mm.
I wish we could have done that 2 years ago,
Mm-hmm.
when we were so naive, we were so ignorant of the fact that how we could actually do things better, even though we wanted to help. But I think we were also very immature, I would say, to
Mm.
understand how to actually start this.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So that is what I would like to change if I go back in time.
And when you do feel breakdowns, which I'm sure any parent does, what is that thought that comes to your mind? What breaks you down?
That I don't want to talk about, and I don't talk to anyone when I have a breakdown. There are no thoughts actually. It's just that because I feel that I'm tired.
Yeah.
I think that's and any normal parent would feel
Yeah.
that I'm just tired because
Yeah.
you don't get time. Uh, it's
Yeah.
it because maybe because I try to put out a very strong face all the time. It's I don't even try. It's just that I have that very strong face.
Mm.
I don't actually get breakdowns very easily, but when I do, I just don't. I feel very drained at that time
I know.
because raising an autistic child and then another toddler, it's hard because the moment it has become easier now. But I tell you, Vandita, when until 4 years of age, we did not sleep. He did not sleep for the whole night. He would wake up every 2 hours. You can imagine drilling through the day and then not even able to sleep at the night. It was hard. It was
Yeah.
really hard for us. Like for me, like little things, getting out of the bed. If we did not get out of the bed according to his way, he would have a meltdown. If
Mm.
we switched on the light before the fan, it was a meltdown. If
Mm.
we did not like put the right seatbelt in first before the left one, he would have a meltdown. So these were the little
Mm.
things that a normal parent probably would not, or should not be saying a normal parent. A parent of a neurotypical child would
Yeah,
not
yeah,
understand these
yeah,
things.
yeah,
I'm sorry, I don't like to use the words normal because it's
yeah,
just, yeah, it's
yeah.
neurotypical. Yeah, these were the things that we were actually struggling with. Uh, we had times when, say, if he had a guest at home, my sister would visit us, so he would want to have everyone sit in the car at the same time.
Mm.
So if you're seven people, he wants seven people in the car. You cannot have five people in the car, in one car, or two in the other car. So these
Mm.
were the little struggles we have gone through,
Mm.
um,
Yeah,
that probably not everyone would understand,
absolutely.
because
But
they
these,
see a happy face.
yeah, and these struggles have managed themselves, or have you given in to them?
Managed, not given in.
Okay.
Obviously, we've put in the time, but yes, we have found the ways that how to improve them. Like, it doesn't happen overnight, I tell you.
No.
If I say to my 3 years old Nimmer, if I say, no, Nimmer, we are not doing this way, we would,
Mm.
we had big meltdowns at that time. But with time, because maybe he is growing up, and maybe
Mm-hmm.
we're mending ways for him, and we are giving him opportunities to look for other ways
Mm-hmm.
as well,
Mm-hmm.
it is improving day by day. He still have meltdown, but not as much as he used to have initially, or for
Okay.
3 or 4 years old. They have definitely improved. I would say he doesn't have, like 90% of the meltdowns have improved.
Is there a hack or a tip that can work that you have worked on over time and you feel, yeah, this is a hack, this is how we should do it?
Uh, Try to divert your child. If he's having a
Mm.
meltdown, do not talk
Okay.
about it. Do
Okay.
not talk about that particular tantrum that he's got. Say, if he says, I want the red candy, just divert him. Oh, let's have this. Let's do not even mention about that candy. Just divert him with something else that he likes. And that has worked. And
Mm-hmm.
that works for the neurotypical child as well, because it does
Yeah.
work for Nehal, my
Yeah.
other child, and
Yeah.
it does work.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
initially, probably it won't work. Your child would have more meltdowns, but with time, when he'll understand that, okay, this is not working, that until now it was working, mommy's doing this, so
Mm.
he'll try to drive himself in
Mm.
that way as well.
Mm.
It does, yeah. And that's
Mm.
how it worked for us.
Mm. There was a discussion I had last week, Prabjot, with a parent of Delhi. And a very beautiful statement he made that people used to tell him was, you have accepted probably because you've given up.
Oh,
Yeah. What is
that's a
your
very
take on
rude
this?
statement. That's a very rude statement. uh, tell you what, I haven't actually come across these statements now for so long, because people know that I'm very vocal about it.
Mm.
I advocate for my child. Wherever possibly I have to, I advocate for my child. Um, Last year,
Mm.
we were traveling in an airplane. It was the first longest flight for Nimra and Nihal. We were going to India. Obviously, after 4 or 5 hours, they both were tired. And you know how kids run around, and they
Mm.
started running around in the plane because they were tired.
Mhm.
Obviously, they wanted to stretch their legs. There was one man, probably should be around 50 or 60, I don't remember how old he was. He just passed the comment, oh, maybe you should discipline your child. And that was like, okay, how can you say that? But excuse me. And I don't normally like to say that my child is autistic. It's not that because I'm embarrassed, but because people think that, oh, because you're trying to get the immunity
Yeah.
out of it.
Yeah.
So I said, because he's autistic, I don't think so. I should be disciplining him. He's autistic. Said, oh, I'm really sorry about that. Said, oh, excuse me, you should not be. He said, I'm really sorry what you go through. I said, you don't even know what I go through. So never ever
Mm.
say sorry to an autistic parent. And he was
Mm.
quiet after that. And if I say 2 years ago, I would never have that courage to
Yeah.
talk about it
Yeah.
and just
Yeah.
to answer back, because I
Yeah.
don't want others to feel sorry about it. because
Yeah.
you don't know what we go through. Saying sorry, what are you trying to say? Maybe just come in and spend a day with us and then look after
Mm.
my kids and then say sorry. Not just by because you know that my son is autistic and saying sorry is not gonna do anything for us. Don't
Mm.
make us feel guilty about it.
Mm.
And then getting unprecedented advices from people that really puts me off.
Mm.
Yeah, because I don't want your advice.
Mm.
If we've come through this, we've given
Yeah.
our 6 years to our child. It
Yeah.
has taken a lot of courage, a lot of time, a lot of effort from both of us as parents. Uh, I don't want to hear anything. I really, my husband actually jokes about it. It's like, you can fight with anyone. I said, yes, I can stand for my kids anywhere. Nobody can tell anything to my kids because
Yeah.
I know that nobody's
Yeah.
gonna stand. No, nobody's gonna come and help us. It's us who have to.
Yeah.
So I'm a big advocate for my kids, and
Yeah.
especially autism, because I want people to understand that acceptance is the key. If
Yeah.
you don't accept it, nobody's gonna accept it. That is the biggest key.
Is there a phase between acceptance when you don't hide and you've accepted and you're very happy to tell people around you? And then there's a phase in the end that's beyond acceptance, that celebration that I'm just enjoying my life with my child. There is nothing more that I'm seeking.
That's right.
Where are you right now?
I think I'm somewhere in between that. I do celebrate at times, and then acceptance was always there.
Yeah,
I never shied away from accepting it that my son is autistic.
yeah,
Because I don't know, Nandita, I don't know how many parents you've spoken to about autism and how many have said this thing, but autism has never changed the way we look at our child.
mm,
If it was an autism, he would still be our child, and we were still parenting our child the same way we were doing. He's still a
mm,
nimmer.
mm,
A a paper diagnosis has changed nothing for us. Literally,
yeah,
he was he was diagnosed level 3, and if you look at him, it doesn't actually matter to us what level he's at. It really doesn't
yeah,
matter
yeah,
because in papers he's level 3, but in the last 3 years he's improved a lot. But
yeah,
according to that assessment, he's still level 3.
mm,
So that has nothing. That has changed nothing.
mm,
We do celebrate when we look at both our child, and if Nima does something that is actually extra special for us, because you know that those little milestones that we don't
mm,
often get to see,
mm,
they are the biggest celebrations
mm,
for us.
mm,
And when he says something, because now when he's hungry, he's like, "Mommy, I want to eat. I am
mm,
hungry." Oh my God, I can't tell you what happiness that brings
yeah,
us.
yeah, yeah, yeah,
He's able to tell us that he's
yeah,
hurt,
yeah,
which was never possible. Like there was time when he could not even say mommy.
yeah,
For 3.5 years, we did not hear anything.
yeah,
So hearing those words brings the biggest joy to us.
mm,
So every little thing that Nima does is celebration. So if he goes to soccer class and he's kicking the balls, oh,
mm,
that's the biggest thing for us.
mm,
There's nothing more than that.
mm,
And it's not like that we don't enjoy anything for Nihal. Even Nihal, he does
yeah,
everything. We don't differentiate between both our kids. They both are
yeah,
same. If we scold them, they both get scolded.
mm,
Yeah. If they get the timeout, they both get the timeout. There's
mm,
no difference. There's no difference between them.
mm,
Because if you created a difference at home, kids are going to be
yeah,
uh, they're
yeah,
going to face this outside as well. So
yeah,
he should not be felt, he should not be feeling this that he's different.
yeah,
Even like
yeah,
at the same time, he should know, his siblings should know that yes, he's autistic. This is the way I should be
mm,
behaving with
mm,
him, because at times we need to tell him that of course that Nihal, your brother, is autistic, and you need to be mindful of how you deal with him, how you behave with him. But at the same time, we don't want him to feel that I'm special. I want people should be behaving with me differently. We
mm,
don't want him to have that feeling. But
mm.
yes, he has the right to know that he's autistic.
And one point that you mentioned, something that I strongly believe in, and it was just my hypothesis, but I think it's true. that it is the parent who labels the child or makes the child believe that I am different, is how the society gets to know that we also need to treat him differently. So when a parent typically goes to a mall and a child has a breakdown, and you snatch the hand of the child and take him away, that don't create a scene here. What will people say? I think somewhere you're trying to tell the society that my child doesn't belong here. He's not supposed to be in a mall amongst other kids. And then later, the same society or the same people will actually show the same reaction to your child. So this is something I've told parents, that you need to first you need to accept the child.
That's right.
Like, yeah, and that is exactly how others will do it too. And when you tell me about Nimmer, I think if he's being celebrated at 6 years of age, that means he's found his freedom to perform, his freedom to be.
That's right. That's right.
And that's really gonna be on his pride. He's really gonna succeed with that emotion, because every day on a daily basis, he's not working hard to impress his parents. He's working hard on himself, on what
That's
he
right.
wants.
That's true. And that's one thing that Nimr has. He doesn't like to do anything for anyone else. He
Yeah,
likes to do things for his own.
yeah.
Yeah.
And I
And
think
he
that would
will,
have brought down his agitation or his aggression. That normally parents say my child is very aggressive. Maybe that's also because if it's a non-verbal child, or if it's a child who is not communicating as much, he's constantly trying to put a smile on your face. He's constantly trying to prove himself to you, whereas he needs to be himself. He's missing on that probably.
yeah. One thing that I think we were fortunate with was Nimr was never aggressive.
Okay.
Never ever. He's still not. He's very gentle child. He's very soft. He's actually oversensitive. He gets oversensitive with things. I think that was also that played the biggest part in his improvement because he was not. And people would say, "Oh, if he's autistic, he's not hitting himself. He's not hitting others."
Mm,
So people have this misconception about
yeah.
autism. They think that if autism, that means every child is same. So that's when I try to tell everyone always in my videos that autism, what I feel, autism is an umbrella.
Yeah.
It's it depends on where you're standing under the umbrella, how much rain is falling on
Yeah.
you. So this autism is like that.
Yeah.
Every child would have different symptoms. Every child is
Yeah.
going to behave differently.
Yeah. 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 Yeah.
It's not that this child A is similar to child B. They are going to be different. Even siblings are different. Even if they are autistic, siblings are different.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, when you have somehow, if I can put it like that, you have cracked it, you know exactly how you need to manage your child. Yes, it's tough for you on a daily basis, but I think you're managing it way better than many others. What do you hope for your child? What is it that you're working towards?
For his independence, we're working towards independence. Uh, you know, it's different in West here.
Mm,
If you know anything, we have public schools, we have private schools here, and Indian community have a very big thing for private schools.
mm, I
They
know.
would say, "Oh, we want to send you sending your child to public school? Oh no, our child goes to this school." And our priority was to have him in the mainstream school. That was our only thing. Even if it couldn't get through, we had, as I told you before, we had an option of homeschooling. For public school and private school was never ever a question for us. So to be able to sit in the class was our priority, our goal
Mm,
actually. So I think he's been in school for 3 months now. He's actually able to sit in the class. So that we have achieved that goal. And next goal is to make him sit in the school for whole day. He only goes to school for half day. Uh,
mhm,
and our next goal is to make him sit in the school for whole day. That's because we put very little short-term goals for him. We don't want to have a long-term goal. Oh, I
mm,
want him to be doctor. We don't want that.
mm,
So
mm.
we've told ourselves, even if he wants to be a laborer, even if he wants to be a plumber, that's his wish. We cannot direct him to be someone if he doesn't want to be.
Yeah.
And that's the biggest mistake we do. Uh, and that's when I really get put off when parents come to me and tell me, please tell us how we can make our 4-year child read. How can we can make our child write? I'm like, is this your priority for the life?
Mm,
Just think about it. What if he doesn't, what he's not able to write?
Mm.
And it's not gonna change that. He can learn to write anytime later in the age, later anytime. But what are your short-term goals? What are your immediate goals? Just work on them.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Do you know that if he has a good relation with his sibling,
Yeah.
is this, yeah, have you ever thought about it? These should be your um, initial objectives. These should be
Yeah.
your initial goals for your child, to have a good relation between their between his and his siblings.
Yeah.
Not been able to go and play. I know that playing with others is also important, but it starts in the house first. Is he able to
Mhm.
sit and play with his sibling or not?
Yeah. Yeah. Very good point.
Yeah, yeah. And people, we really focus on our kids. Oh, you should be sharing with others. Let's share your toys. I actually don't. I don't tell my kids to share with others if they don't want to, because when we grow up, we don't like to share our things with others. So what we do is, as a child, we put in their mind we should be sharing. Sharing is caring. Sharing is caring. But when we grow up, we don't share with anyone
Yeah.
because we like to keep our things to our own. So I like to teach them from the very beginning. If you don't want to share, that's okay. It's your
Mm-hmm.
choice.
Mm-hmm.
So as long as you share with your siblings,
Mm-hmm.
that's okay because
Mm-hmm.
you're living in the house. But
Mm-hmm.
if you don't want to share things, and I don't know, I could be wrong, but this is how
Yeah.
we
I
go.
was about to come to that. That my takeaway from this session from you, largely as a parent myself, has been that it is your child first and then the
Yes,
rest of them.
that's right.
Yeah. If he
Yeah,
wants it this way, and as a parent, if you feel it's fundamentally right, and that is something that only a parent will define, nobody outside that circle. It's just you, you're in a circle of your two kids, you and your husband. And four
that's
of
right.
you will decide how your this family is going to function. And the
That's
moment
right.
somebody else enters, it just goes haywire.
It disrupts.
Yeah.
You can have 10 therapists for your child, Vandita. Every day a therapist would come, but
Yeah.
a best therapist for his child is always a parent, because what you
Yeah.
can teach your child is nothing compared to what others can teach.
Yeah.
Yeah, nobody can, because they come in for 1 hour session, 2 hour session, but
Yeah.
you are the one who lives
Absolutely.
with
Yeah.
them
Mm.
every day 24/7, and
Mm.
they learn so much from you.
Yeah.
So this is where parents need to learn that you cannot rely on the therapist all the time. They think
Mm.
that the therapist come and a child's gonna be like, in a snap, they're gonna be a different child. They're gonna improve. But no, this
Mm.
does not happen.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
uh, as a parent, we really need to understand this. I know that uh, we do rely on them. They do give you, they have good advices. I mean, we've learned so much from the therapist, but then we cannot really rely on them.
Yeah. So
I
6 years
think
of journey now, Prabjot, with
he's going
Nimmer.
to be 6 in July. Yes.
Tell me one thing from the beginning till now, when there was a stage of diagnosis to dealing to acceptance, and now I can see there's a journey towards celebration. What is that first emotion that comes to your mind when you look at Nimmer? Does it bend more towards love or is it responsibility?
I'm more content now,
Mm,
I would say. There is abundance of love for him.
mm,
We look at his face and I'm like, oh my God, he's
mm,
the best thing we could have.
mm,
He's actually, I wouldn't
mm,
change anything for a world. Not at all.
mm.
Yeah.
That's beautiful.
Um, yeah, I cannot. Uh, I don't know. I don't know Nimar any other way.
Yeah,
He's,
very true. Yeah,
I don't know. Sometimes we talk
yeah,
about it, me and my
yeah,
husband. What if he
yeah,
was a neurotypical child? We
yeah,
don't know. Our
yeah,
life would have been so different. I would have been so ignorant actually,
yeah.
because when we were not parents, normally kids are which are hyper, um, like, I remember that my friends' kids would come and they would just tumble down the house, and oh my God, they can't parent, they can't tell their kids how to behave. And we've made that mistake as well. We've thought about it. And when Nima was there, and I used to sit and think, oh my God, we made such a big mistake thinking like that. He's he's the reason everything has changed. Everything,
Mm,
like we think so differently now. It's just
mm,
because of Nimmer. And I
mm,
believe everything happens for a good reason. And
mm,
I'm glad that I got that opportunity,
mm.
because otherwise I would still have been sitting here ignorant with ignorance and not been able to understand why other kids are doing that.
Very true.
And now, and when I
Very true.
look at kids now, when I look at kids now, I know that okay, definitely
Yeah.
he's hyper, he's autistic.
Yeah.
There is
Yeah.
something that he requires. You know
Yeah.
it
Yeah.
because you've
Yeah.
read their minds now.
Yeah.
Yeah, but before it was so different, and I hate myself thinking
Yeah.
about that. Okay, I
Yeah.
was doing it. I was one of that.
Being judgmental. I
Yes,
okay, let me tell you that so when I stepped into this industry of nutraceutical food products, I did not know that this journey would eventually lead me to neurodiverse kids. I had no idea. As a member of the society, I had no idea what this world meant till about 2.5, 3 years ago when I started reading and getting more information about it. And I was maybe another part of the society who would very quickly judge
that's
that,
right.
oh,
We do.
why is the child? Yeah, yeah. That child is just so out of control. That would be my thought.
Yeah,
Maybe I won't judge the parent because I was a parent then myself, but I would definitely know this child, or parents are gonna have a tough time. He's just so hyper. Now, when I look at kids, my whole understanding is I'm able to dissect and understand. So that's it. That's what
that's
that
it.
is it.
That's
That he is that. That's it. I mean, you. That's it. There's no emotion around it. There's no feeling of pity around it. He's
no.
this. Yeah. Yeah.
It's not like that. Oh, you pity the child, you pity the parents. No,
No.
because other ways we would. I mean, like before, I used to think, oh my God, parents, they really need to look after the kids.
Hmm.
They really need to discipline the kids. I used to think like
Yeah.
that when I had
Yeah.
no kids,
Yeah.
but everything has changed because now
Hmm.
you're able to think clearly. You're not able to see things the way it should have been way
Wonderful.
before.
Yeah. Anything you would want to share, Prabjot, with parents who are listening to this, who have a 6-year-old, maybe at not the same stage as you are as of today? Maybe they don't share that emotion of that one line will always stay with me that you said you would not want it any other way. That statement itself shows a lot of celebration and contentment that this is my child. How can I ever have him any other way now?
That's right.
What is that? Just tell me
Well,
anything that you feel that these parents can benefit from as a parting note.
I always believe anything, even anything bad happens to you, it happens for the good reason.
Mm.
If you don't believe it today, I know that when something bad happens to you or the way you don't want things, you feel that why only me? Why it
Yeah.
happened to me? But the day will come when you would realize that, oh, okay, this is why it happened. And I believe if you have an autistic child, God only sent those kids to parents who have the strength to deal with the kids. Not any weaker parent would have the autistic child because we have the ability, we have that strength in us to be able to uh, parent these kids.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's actually
Have
true.
you have you ever heard a parent who's weak, who's just given up on their autistic child? I don't think so. I've not come across. Maybe they go through these acceptance
Yes,
phase, hope phase, like for longer time. Uh, but there's not a weak parent at all. I have not
true.
come across any parent who would say, "I don't want to do this."
Yeah.
They always look for the ways because they're hungry. They're
Mm.
hungry to help their kids.
Yeah.
It may take them years to understand this, but
Mm.
there's never ever um, a, a chance that they'll give up.
Mm.
So we parents of autistic children, we have that extra ability, extra strength
Mm.
that I don't know, maybe God had seen us. They've given us these kids, and I believe it's a blessing. It's a blessing to have an autistic child. See, it's honestly, you start to see the world differently.
Mm.
And I really thank God that my firstborn was autistic, because if it was my secondborn, we I would have been a different parent. I would have different expectations. Then I don't know, maybe I would have compared my first one to another one.
Yeah.
The expectations would have been totally different. But
Yeah.
because it's my first one, I already had set the bars higher.
Mm.
And we constantly actually feared for our second child as well. He was always on that, I would say, scale that, oh, he's autistic, he's not autistic. And we are always still, he's almost 4 now, we still sometimes, like, I constantly judge him. Maybe he's
Mm.
autistic, maybe he's not, because he you want to be vigilant about things.
Yes.
You don't want to delay the facts, you don't want to
Yeah.
delay the time.
Yeah.
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 And if parents are hearing me, if they have 2 kids, if they have 3 kids, and they're still thinking, sitting, uh, okay, what if my second child is autistic? If you have the slightest doubt, go get it checked.
Go get it.
Yeah, do
Mm.
not delay it. And I do get asked as well, what was your thought on planning on a second child? This is the very common question I do get asked.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, yeah, and seriously, by that time, even he was not diagnosed, we knew. We never thought about it, because now I think, what if I had that thought in my mind? It
Mm.
would have hit my child differently. I'm
Yeah.
glad that we did not have that in mind.
Yeah.
I knew autism word, but I did not know the actual autism. And
Mm.
I'm glad that I had no understanding of autism by that time when I was pregnant,
Mm. Mm.
because I was just enjoying my second pregnancy without a
Yeah.
thought that my other child would be autistic.
Yeah. True. Yeah. I can see a lot of contentment in you, and I'm pleasantly surprised. I'm repeating this, that it has come in very early for you, and it will only do wonders for Nimmer. The later it comes, I think the child has already compromised so much of himself for his parents. And I
Yeah.
don't think he's doing that now. So yeah, I think
Because
it's going to be a
Vandita, initially, they say that until 8 9 years of age, uh, it is kids are like mold. Whatever you put in that, they're gonna
yeah,
mold that. And if you lose that time, you may never be able to get that time back. Even
yeah.
if your child is neurodiverse,
Mm,
the early why they say early intervention, it is very important for your child to have that early intervention, because if you lose that time, they are not going to um, get that back. They may improve, definitely they'll improve, but that may take longer time.
mm,
But if you put that effort, if you accept that early, 2 years 3 years, if you think that your child is autistic, just go on the journey.
mm,
Just start your work, start your homework, day
mm.
and night. I know it's hard, but
Yeah,
start from
yeah,
today if you know it.
yeah,
Yeah.
true. I agree. I think this is something that every parent we've spoken to has shared, that early intervention has been the game changer for them. Many of them
Yeah.
lost time in denial and acceptance during that phase. But so the only thing they regret is early intervention. And those who have done it have seen a lot of changes. So I agree.
Definitely. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. This has been wonderful for me too.
Thank you. Thank you so much for that, Vandana. Thank you. It's been a pleasure.